All right, so here's our video for literal equations. Basically, when you have a literal equation, that means that you're going to have an equation that has more than one variable. So as you see, we have some m's, some x's, some z's, some a's. So you're basically going to solve for whichever variable they tell you to solve for. So on this first one, they say solve for x. So that means I want to get this x on a side by itself. So it's still that same concept that we do for equations. And you may want to draw that line if you need it. So I'm going to divide because this is like 6 times x. And the opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide both sides by 6, leaving me with x equals g over 6. And that's my final answer. I know that I'm done once I have that variable on a side by itself. Okay. All right. The next one, they want me to solve for x. So I have m here. That's the one that needs to go on this other side. So I'm going to do the opposite, which is subtraction. And what I do to one side, I'm still doing to the other side. So this is going to cancel out. I'm going to have z minus m equals negative x. So from here, it may look like I'm done because I do have that x, but I have negative x. So I do have to make sure we end up with positive x. So we may want to add in an imaginary 1 so we can know like, hey, we're going to be dividing by negative 1. So then that's going to give me x equals, I do z divided by negative 1, that gives me negative z. And I do negative m divided by negative 1, and that gives me positive m. So my final answer is negative z plus m equals x. All right, let's move on to the next one. I'm still solving for x here. So x is here on the right side. So I'm going to add k. That's going to cancel out. So I'm going to have u plus k because I cannot put these together because they are not like terms. Okay, so I'm going to bring down my x and I have x by itself. So we are done. My next one, I'm solving for a this time. So I have k over a, and I want to get rid of that fraction. So we know a fraction is division. So what I want to do is multiply both sides by a. So that's going to cancel out. I'm left with k equals a times u, or just au. Then I still have this a over here. I want to divide both sides by a. So my final answer will be a equals k over u. All right. My next one, I have 12 am equals 4. So you have to think of this as like 12 times a times m. So that operation, even though we have 3 different terms there, that is still multiplication. So if I want to get rid of my a and m, or my 12 and my m, I have to multiply or divide, by 12m on both sides. So the 12s will cancel out, and then the m's will cancel out. So I will be left with a equals 4 over 12m. Okay, now I could go further, which, like I told you guys in class, I will accept this answer. But if I simplified, my final answer will be a equals 1/3 over m. Okay, when you have fractions, you do want to have them in simplest forms. Okay, number 11, I'm solving for a. So I'm going to divide both sides by m. This cancels out, so I have a equals n plus p over m. And we have a by itself, so we are done. Then my last one, I'm going to solve for a. So I'm going to add c to both sides. That's going to cancel out here, so I'm left with a equals d minus r plus c.